Hi guys, it's another video of inventory evaluation using the FIFO method. So this is task 10.9. Please turn to your textbook and your workbook and we can do it together. Okay, so in task 10.9, it's structured a little bit differently to the other two tasks. You'll find with these questions that there's often different structure. You've got to sift out the information in whichever way it's given to you. Okay, so this is for Dubious Shoe Stores. So they sell a wide range of casual shoes to the public. They buy goods from a local supplier who charges an extra 2 rand per pair of shoe for deliveries. So that would be carriage and purchases. Any returns must be made within 5 working days. Note that there is no refund for carriage on the shoes returned, nor are they charged for transport when returning shoes. Okay, so they're using the FIFO method for valuing their stock. And we've got to do some calculations very similar to what we've done in 10.8. Okay, but before we do that, I've just redrawn the table that you have in your textbook in an abbreviated format. So there are some figures on there which have asterisks which we just need to calculate. Okay, I have already put in some of the answers for you, but let me just show you how I got them. So basically this is how your table looks. Okay, the opening stock was 60 units at 56 Rand, giving us 3360. And then we have underneath the opening stock, we have the purchases schedule. A schedule because obviously there were purchases bought on various dates within the question. Okay, so we have 24th June, 26th June, etc. I didn't put the dates in. Okay, so the purchases on the 24th of June was 310 units. The cost price is 42 Rand and the carriage is 2 Rand. So if you take 310 actually times 44 will give us 13,640. Okay. Then they returned 5 units. Now, so the 5 units returned were basically from the purchases on 24th June because returns have to happen within 5 working days. Okay, there is no refund on the carriage, so it will just be at 42 Rand. Okay, so 5 times 42 is 210 Rand, but we're going to put it in with the minus sign in front of it, obviously, because it's a return. Okay, so the rest of the figures were calculated for you. Again, they took 315 times 62 to get 19530 and 112 times 60 to get 6720. The return here would be 2 units at 58 Rand. Okay, so at 58 will give us 116. Remember, no carriage on the return. Okay, so there's the schedule done. The sales has also been given to which we'll use later. In 10.9.1a, the value of the closing stock on 31st August 20.8. Okay, now remember what we in 10.8, I told you guys that before we calculate the value of the closing stock, we need to know how many units there are in closing stock. Now again, this question hasn't given us the number of units, so we're going to have to calculate it ourselves. So the quantity, first we're calculating the quantity of closing stock. We're going to start with opening stock. We're going to add on purchases. Okay, I called it net purchases, which means purchases minus returns. Then we're going to subtract sales. Okay, and that will give us the quantity of the closing stock. Okay, so the opening stock units, okay, was 60 units. Net purchases was 730. Now that was given to you in the schedule. Okay, so basically I just want to show you how they got 730. It was 310 minus 5 plus 315 plus 112 minus 2. And that's how they got 730. Okay, and sales, how many units were sold? That was 604 units. Okay, so that gives us a quantity of 186 units. Okay, so now we need to carry on with our, okay, this is just the quantity of closing stock. We now need to calculate the value of the closing stock. So remember we have 186 units. You're going to look at your purchases, the latest purchases that you made. Now the latest purchases on the purchases schedule, okay, which means latest in the year or the period, was the 29th August, okay. So that's basically we're looking at the month of August. Now in the month of August, They purchased 112 units and they returned 2. So they were only actually left with 110 units. Okay, so from August we're going to use 110 units. But remember, we need to value 186 units. So what's the difference between 186 and 110? Which is 76. So for those 76 units, we're going to look at the price which was paid in the month before August. And so that was obviously in July. Okay, so we're going to value 110 units at August's prices and 76 units at July's prices. And that will give us an answer then for 186 units. Okay, so in August, the price was 58 and the carriage was 2 Rand. In July, it was 60 and the carriage was 2 Rand. Okay, and you're just going to work out your answers then. So 110 times 60 and 76 times 62. Okay, and this will give us the value of closing stock, which is what we needed. Okay, so value of closing stock. So 11,312. And we're going to use that when we're calculating cost of sales. Okay, so in B, we're calculating the cost of sales, and that's where we're going to use the figure. So remember, to calculate cost of sales, we start with opening stock. Now we're going to use the Rand values. Remember, up here we use the quantities. Now we're actually looking at values, right? So opening stock. Okay, we're going to say plus net purchases, including the carriage, because I don't want to separate the carriage and make unnecessary work. Then we're going to subtract the closing stock, and the answer will give us cost of sales, right? Okay, so the opening stock value was given to you on the table, 3360. The net purchases, okay, was 39564. So let's see how to get that. Okay, so 39564, I didn't calculate, 39564 was our answer here on the table. So basically, if we took all of these figures and worked it out, we would get 39564, right? Okay, so if you do a table like this, you don't have to do side calculations like we did in the previous question. And then we're going to subtract our closing stock, which we just calculated in A. And that answer will give us cost of sales, 31612. Okay, and C, the gross profit. Okay, so you should know by now that we're calculating gross profit, sales minus cost of sales. Okay, so sales is 54,360. It's given to you in the table. Cost of sales we just calculated, but you're going to put it with a minus sign or brackets to get the gross profit of 22,748. Indeed, this is a common question also in this section. To calculate the markup achieved by the business. So remember, you're calculating your markup percentage here. Okay, so our markup percentage, we take the gross profit divided by the cost of sales and we multiply the answer by 100. Okay, so we're going to say 22,748 divided by 31612 and multiply the answer by 100, which gives us an answer of 72%. Okay. Right. Okay, so look at 10.9.2 now. The owner has asked for your advice as to whether he should increase the selling price of the shoes. In your opinion, what should he do? Why? Your opinion must be substantiated with facts and figures. Right? So this is 10.9.2. Now with these kind of questions, you can say yes or you can say no, as long as you justify your answer. Okay, so if we want to say yes, we can say that the business seems to have consistency with the sales. Okay, which means that they're able to sell the products that they're selling. Okay, the market research can be done before the price is increased to determine competition and demand for the product. So if they are selling these shoes at 90 Rand per unit, they need to see what other competitors are charging for similar shoes. They can't increase the price if the competitors are charging a similar price to 90 Rand or even less. Okay, so obviously they'd have to do a lot more research before making up their mind. Okay, or you could say no. The markup achieved is 72%. Okay, so that means it's what we're trying to say is that the markup is already quite high. And if you look at the cost price, that the cost price is actually decreased towards the end of the period. and a higher markup may be achieved in the future. So if the cost price keeps decreasing, the markup will even increase in the future. So maybe they shouldn't change the selling price of their shoes in order to retain their customers. So maybe they can use an advertising campaign which will increase sales and profit margins in the future. Okay, that's all for this question. Bye.